Hi guys, this is video tutorial for NeutrinoParticles editor, and in this tutorial I will show you how to use NeutrinoParticles with Unity, how to export effects to Unity. So first of all, I'll start Unity. I will create new project on the desktop. I'll call it test project. It doesn't matter three-dimensional or two-dimensional project, so I'll create two-dimensional. Yes, Unity started, and now we need to download NeutrinoParticles plugin, NeutrinoParticles renderer. You can do that from neutrinoparticles.com, programming API, C# Unity. It will direct you to GitHub. Then you may download zip. Open it, and from this Unity assets folder I will copy to our test project. After that, it will create two folders. Let's take a look at the directory structure. So we have NeutrinoParticles and plugins folder. In plugins, we have only dynamic library, which will help to simulate particle effects. It is shared code for all particle effects. In NeutrinoParticles folder, we have project for NeutrinoParticles editor, export Unity directory will have compiled exported effects, exported Unity components. Particles folder will contain source effect files for NeutrinoParticles editor. Renderer has renderer component for Unity. This code will not change. This code just helps to render effects, exported effects. You can see shaders here also for all three materials of NeutrinoParticles. And the resources folder, which will contain all textures for effects. So now we can switch to Unity, and it will compile all new scripts. I don't see any error here, so all scripts are compiled. You can see new folders in assets folder, and everything looks good. So next step is to open NeutrinoParticles editor and create some effect. Effect you can find in assets, NeutrinoParticles, and here we have effects file. Yep. Now we need to create new effect. I will call it also test. I also need some texture for this effect. I prepared bubble texture. So I'm going to copy it to Assets, NeutrinoParticles, Resources folder. Now we can set it up to our particles, bubbles. Now I'll change start position to path, this line. Make more particles, 50 per second. Start velocity I'll make a little smaller, and add some forces. Okay. And size multiplier. So we have such simple bubbles effect. I save it and then I'm going to export it. To make export, you will need to have account on neutrinoparticles.com site, and then you will need to log in to your account in this small window. After that, you will have export button. If you press it, your effect will be exported to Unity. And you will find it inside Export Unity folder. You can see Effect, Test. Now to add this effect to the game object, I'm going to create one and then just drag it to the game object. You can see it has big scale, so I'm going to make it smaller. Oop. Yep. Also, you can see this green gizmo, which you can change the size of it. I'll set 1, and we have exported effect playing in the editor. If we start the game, we don't see our effect because we need to change that position to something positive, like 1. And now we can see playing effect. If you want to change this effect, just switch to the editor and change something. And re-export it. Then when you switch back to Unity, it will automatically recompile effect and replace it on the scene. You can drag this effect. You can see starting position is dragged with your widget. If you want to rotate this path on for starting position, you can see that now rotation doesn't make any influence on start position. So you need to prepare your effect correctly. You can see this checkbox, apply emitters rotation. If you set it, then again re-export effect. And you will be able to rotate starting position as well. So we can see it's pretty easy to add effect to the scene and develop it. If you have two displays, two monitors, it's very convenient when you have Unity on the one display and the NeutrinoParticles editor on the second one, and you don't need to switch tasks, and effects development goes very fast. Okay, and in the end, let's have a look at components which were added to game object when we dragged effect to that object. So we have default transform component where we can change position, rotation, and scale. I suggest you to do not change scale in real time in your game because you will have reasonable issues with position of particles. So just set it once when you create your scene. Then we can see mesh filter and mesh render components. They are generic too, so they have usual settings. Then new component neutrino renderer, which creates render buffers and manages geometry for particles. Here you can see checkbox simulating world space. If you remove it, you'll able to move your effect to move all particles together and rotate them together as well. It is probably not what you usually want, but you have such ability. So gizmo size changes this green gizmo for particles. It's just a helper to see center of particles if you don't see particles at all. And the last one is effect test component, effect test script, which is actually effect which we added to the game object. It describes logic, it describes behavior of particles, all algorithms. But don't add several effects to one game object. They will not work currently in current version. But it will probably change it in next versions. Also, this render, all these components, this plugin is in active development. So if you have any requests, any feedback, send it on the neutrinoparticles.com website, on the forum, or on the mail in contacts, and I will consider your feedback and will react rapidly on it. So that's it for this tutorial. Thank you.